So one, I agree with you. There's some degree to which when you imagine aliens, you forget if for a moment how special and important life is here on Earth. Yes. But it's also a way to reach out through curiosity and trying to understand what is intelligence, what is consciousness, what is exactly the thing that makes life on Earth special. Another way of doing that, and I see the jungle in that same way, is basically treating the animals all around us, the life forms all around us, as kinds of aliens. As that's a humbling way, that's an intellectual humility with which to approach the study of like, what the hell is going on here? Yeah. This is truly incredible. Like, are the animals we've met over the last few days conscious? What is the nature of their intelligence? What is the nature of their consciousness? What motivates them? Are they individual creatures, or are they actually part of the large system? And how large is the system? Is Earth one big system and humans are just little fingertips of that system? Or are each of the individual animals really the key actors and everything else is in the emerging complexity of the system? So I think thinking about aliens is a necessary, I like my town with a little drop of poison from Tom Waits, is a necessary perturbation of the system of our thinking to sort of say, hey, we don't know what the fuck's going on around here.
Sure.
And aliens is a nice way to say, okay, the mystery all around us is immense. Because to me, likely, aliens are living among us. Not in a trivial sense, little green men, but the force that created life, I think, permeates the entirety of the universe. That there is a force that's creative.
Now, the force that created life is a big one. And then the other thing is, what do you mean by that there's aliens living among us? You mean extraterrestrials?
Yes.
Living among us?
Yes.
You believe that?
Not like 100%, but there's a good percentage. I don't understand how it's possible for there not to be a very large number of alien civilization throughout just our galaxy.
But that's different than saying that they're living among us. If you tell me that there's aliens living 5 galaxies over and that they're just out there somewhere, I'm kind of more on your side than that they're here. Because just like Bigfoot, like we have camera traps, we have DNA sequencing through water now. Like we can. You're telling me no one found one wing nut of a ship in all, like the Egyptians up until right now? No one in Russia saw like a crashed ship, took a picture, tweeted that shit real quick, and
I think there's no Bigfoot, there's no trivial manifestations of aliens. I think if they're here in ways that are not comprehensible by humans because they're far more advanced than humans. They're far more advanced than any life forms on Earth. So they're, even if it's just their probes, we cannot just even comprehend it. I think it's possible that they operate in the space of ideas, for example, that ideas could be aliens, feelings could be aliens, consciousness itself could be aliens. So we can't restrict our understanding of what is a life form to a thing that is a biological creature that operates via natural selection on this particular planet. It could be much, much, much more sophisticated. It could be in the space of computation, for example, as we in the 21st century are developing increasingly sophisticated computational systems with artificial intelligence. It could be operating on some other level that we can't even imagine. It could be operating on a level of physics that we have not even begun to understand. We barely understand quantum mechanics. We use it. Quantum mechanics is a way we use to make very accurate predictions, but to understand why it's operating that way, we don't. And there's so many gigantic, powerful cosmic entities out there that we detect. Sometimes can't detect dark matter, dark energy, but it's out there. We know it exists, but we can't explain why and what the fuck it is. We give it names, black holes and dark energy and dark matter, but those are all names for things that mathematical equations predict, but we don't understand. And so all of that is just to say that aliens could be here in ways that are, for now and maybe for a long time, going to be impossible for humans to understand.
So aliens in the strict biological sense, like horseshoe crabs, we agree that they're not. We haven't found physical aliens.
The only way I can imagine finding physical aliens is if alien species are trying to communicate with us humans, or with other life forms, and are trying to figure out a way to communicate with us such that we dumb humans would understand. Like, let's create a thing.
Yo, there's a moth the size of a small eagle.
Let's try to get us 15 minutes of attention.
It just might.
Big fan of the podcast.
Okay. Lex, I love you. All right. So wouldn't it be interesting? It would be really fascinating to me if we found out that there were aliens living among us and we couldn't see them. And what some of the people were calling aliens, the scientists, the religious people were calling angels. And then everybody had this realization that whether you call them aliens or angels, there are these there is way more to the universe than we're realizing. Mm-hmm. For me, the fact that there's
a skull on the table.
Yeah, there's a skull on the table.
There's now a skull in your hand.
There's now a skull in my hand of a monkey with a bullet in its head that I found on the floor of an indigenous community where they eat monkeys. I didn't kill the monkey, so save your comments. But, in terms of the animals, I think that when I see space, my feeling, and I'm not requiring anybody else to have this feeling, but because it's the only place that we know that there's life, and we have no idea how it started, I just think it's so important to protect it, and for me, it's just as much about our children as it is about the little spider monkeys and the little baby caiman that are in the river right now, because life is so beautiful. Yeah. And I think that there's a huge amount of intellectual responsibility that we can transfer off of ourselves if we go, yeah, the rivers are filled with trash and yeah, extinction is happening, but we have to be an interplanetary species anyway, because at any moment this could all end from an asteroid and like everything's going to shit anyway. And so it's like, we're fucking up this planet. And it's like, we're just being angry teenagers who are, going goth for a while. And it's like, what if you just rolled up your sleeves and said, holy shit, wait a second. We can pretty much do whatever we want. We can fly all over the world. We can do heart transplants. We can watch Netflix and the Amazon if we wanted to. Like, we could do all this amazing stuff. We can capture on video our adventures and go back and watch them again and again and again. There's so much incredible opportunity that technology has allowed us to do, and we're the richest in history. I mean, we could do everything. We could cross the whole planet in a second. And it's like, that's an amazing time to be alive. And if we just don't fuck up the ecosystems and kill all the other animals, we got it made.
Yeah, so it is true that we can destroy ourselves with nuclear weapons, but it also is true that snake that I got to handle yesterday is like one of the most beautiful things Earth has ever created. In that little organism, it is encapsulated the entire history of Earth. And it's beautiful. So both things are true. Yeah. We should worry about the existential destruction of human civilization through the weapons we create, and we should become a multiplanetary species as a backup for that purpose. But also remember that this place is really, really special, and probably, if not difficult, probably impossible to recreate elsewhere. And by the way, there's something incredibly powerful about a skull.
Yeah. If you've ever hold a human skull, it'll give you it'll weigh on you for a sec, because you look into the hollow eyes of this face, and suddenly you feel your own teeth, you feel your own skull, and you go, holy shit. You go, what is going on? It's like taking acid. You just go, oh boy. Mm-hmm. I forgot that I'm a ghost inhabiting a meat vehicle on a floating rock.
But even a monkey,
yeah, it's
like looking at a ancestor. Not a direct ancestor, but it's like like you're looking at a puddle at a reflection.
Mm-hmm. A little blurry, but
it's a little blurry, but it's still there.
Yeah,
it's still there, and like the roots of who we are is still there. And it's all kind of incredible. Do you ever think of the tree of life, just kind of like where we came from?
Yeah.
The jungle is ephemeral. It's a system that just keeps forgetting because it's just churning and churning and churning and churning. It has, in some ways, no history. But to create the jungle, to create life on Earth, there's a deep history of lots of death, sex and death.
A festival of sex and death. Life on Earth.
That's what I see in the skull.
Yeah. There's something kind of terrifying about that image to me. Like when I hold that skull, every now and then at night, you hold that skull and it just reminds you that you're temporary.
Yeah, both you and I will one day have one of those.
Yeah.
Mine will be bigger.
God.
The male competition continues.
The silverback slaps the lesser male once again.